You didn't become a practitioner because you loved writing reports. You didn't spend years of training so you could spend evenings formatting protocols, chasing invoices, and answering the same type of follow-up emails over and over again. You did it because you wanted to help people, because a client got better because of something you figured out. And that feeling made all of the years of training worth it. But somewhere between seeing clients and running a practice, things got heavy. You're working longer. You are constantly behind. And no matter how hard you work, there's always seemed to be more waiting for you tomorrow. And all of this slowly is burning you out. If that sounds familiar, I want to offer you a different way of looking at burnout and overwhelm. Because I don't think most practitioners are burning out for the reasons they have been told. And once you see what I'm about to show you, you will never look at your practice the same way again. Now, this matters because if you misdiagnose the problem, you'll spend years trying to solve the wrong thing. And you know how important the correct diagnosis is. Before I became a practitioner, I spent 15 years building production systems in Hollywood. Systems that had to work under extreme pressure. Deadlines couldn't move, hundreds of people depended on these systems. And one thing I learned very quickly was this: talented people fail all the time inside broken systems. When something goes wrong, nobody asks, how do we make people work harder? They ask, what failed in the system? But when practitioners burn out, the advice suddenly changes. You need better boundaries, better self-care, better time management. None of these things are bad, but they all assume the same thing, that the problem is you. That somehow you're not managing things properly. But you're already proven you're disciplined. You have built an entire practice on discipline, not to mention graduating school. The question here is, why statistically so many skilled, motivated practitioners end up in exactly the same place? And my answer is simple: because burnout is usually not a personal failure. It's a practice architecture failure. And once you see the architectural problem, you start noticing something most practitioners never measure. This is the part nobody talks about, but it's where most burnout actually comes from. Imagine a film director who is also doing payroll, scheduling the crew, managing equipment, coordinating vendors, handling logistics, answering support emails. Eventually, the film doesn't fail because the director lacks talent. It fails because one person is carrying too many jobs. And that's exactly what I see in clinical practice. Every hour of clinical work creates a second layer of invisible work underneath it. Documentation, follow-up emails, lab interpretation, scheduling, client communication, admin, content for social media. None of that was in your training in school. Yet, all of it lands on your shoulders. And here's the key point. Every new client creates more operational work. Every dollar of revenue creates more responsibility. So it becomes super hard to scale. And every bit of growth creates more load, which means the practice becomes heavier and heavier to carry. And that's not a time management issue. You're simply operating in the wrong structure because every part of the business depends on your personal time and attention. And every solo practitioner spends around 16 hours every week on admin. That's 2 full working days every week. Not because you're lazy or disorganized, because your current practice structure requires it. And this leads to the most important shift in this entire video. This was the idea that completely changed how I looked at my own practice. Back in Hollywood, if a system keeps breaking, nobody tells the people inside of it become more resilient. We redesign the system. And that's exactly how I think practitioners need to approach burnout or prevention of burnout. If burnout is an architecture problem, then it has an architectural solution. Not another productivity hack, not a planner, not another promise that you will finally get organized next week. A structural solution. The question stops being what's wrong with me and becomes what's missing from the system underneath my practice. That's a completely different question, and it leads to a completely different answer. Before you leave this video, I want to give you one simple exercise. Take 10 minutes, and write down every task you completed last week that did not require your clinical expertise. Scheduling, formatting reports, writing the follow-up emails, chasing invoices, admin work, everything. Then estimate how many hours those tasks took you. That number is what I call your architecture gap. It's the distance between what you're trained to do and what you're actually spending your time doing. Most practitioners think they're burnt out because they're working too hard. They have too many clients. I don't think that's true. I think they're burned out because they build a practice without the infrastructure needed to support it. And here's the good news. Infrastructure can be rebuilt and fixed. In the next video, I'm going to show you what that infrastructure actually looks like and why AI, when it's used correctly, doesn't replace your expertise, it creates the conditions for it. Because talent without infrastructure eventually burns out.